Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Adetayo. I'm a registered nurse and a graduate of University of Lagos. So this channel central focus is on nursing, academic writing, and productivity. If you would love to be part of this community, kindly subscribe to this channel. Thank you. Welcome to my YouTube channel. So today I'm going to be putting you through on how to write a good abstract work. So what is an abstract? An abstract is a brief summary of what your research is about. So it's just like someone telling you to give me all what your research is about in 300 words. That is it. And it is usually written between 100 to 250 words. But for undergraduate nursing students, according to the Nursing and Midwifery Council of Nigeria, it is recommended that your abstract should be 300 words maximum. So before I go into how to write your abstract work, I'm going to be giving you some tips on how to structure a proper research. I know that an abstract could be difficult to write, especially when you're just starting the research paper. So it is advisable that you should have finished your chapter 1 to 5 before writing an abstract. You know, I said earlier that an abstract is a summary of what your research paper is about. So how are you going to write a summary if you've not done the actual research? So it is better to keep the abstract for the last thing. Now, before you write your abstract, it is advisable that you work in line with your supervisor. At the same time, you read few other researches and you read their abstract in order to know how to structure yours. For me, when I was writing my own research paper, I used the West African Journal of Nursing, and I read at least 4 different abstracts to see how it is being done, to be able to structure a very good one. Also, your abstract does not include citations, so there is no referencing in your abstract. So it's just like a personal summary of what your research work is about. To make your research work 300 words, it has to be accurate. You don't need overstatements, you don't need hyperbole, you just need to be straight to the point. So I'm going to be giving you a breakdown of how your abstract should be. However, an abstract is written in a continuous prose, like there is no heading. You should add them together, but I'm going to be breaking it down into the things that it contains, so that by the time you are putting it together, you'll be able to know how to do it. So we have introduction as the first one. We have the aim and purpose of study, we have the research methodology, we have the results, and we have the conclusion. So these are the 5 things that you must have in your abstract work. An introduction is a brief summary of the statement of a problem. It's usually in 1 sentence or 2 sentences. So all you just want to do is that you want to pick the main problem. You want to talk about how broad this problem is and why this is a problem. So for instance, I have here hypertension is a leading cause of cardiovascular diseases, resulting in about 13.5% of total deaths among adult population globally. According to WHO, the prevalence of HP in sub-Saharan Africa was estimated to be 75 million in 2008. This disease is a growing public health problem in many developing countries, including Ghana. So you are talking about how broad hypertension is. You are talking about why hypertension is a problem. So the next part that should be contained in your research paper is the aim or purpose of your study. So the aim of your purpose of study is the primary objective of your study. You know that in research work we have the broad objective and we have the specific objective. So your broad objective should be included in your abstract. So you want to talk about why are you doing the research? Why is it a problem? So that is what is contained in your aim or purpose of study. So an example of an aim or purpose of study is this study therefore examine the factors influencing the utilization of maternal health care services among childbearing women in Ile-Ife. So you are specific to your objective. So in your aim or purpose of study, you want to talk about your primary objective, and then you want to talk about why are you studying this particular topic, and also you want to talk about, is it a new one? Is it a new topic that is just coming up, or is something that has been before time? For instance, the research I did in undergraduate, I talked about emotional abuse, and The reason why I spoke about emotional abuse was because over time people have been more concerned about physical abuse, sexual abuse, but nobody has really paid so much attention in emotional abuse. So I wrote about emotional abuse. In my aim and purpose, I spoke about how and there is a depth of information on emotional abuse. I talked about why I want to study that particular topic in this specific location. That's what your aim and purpose of study entails. So the next part is you want to talk about your methodology, your research methodology. You want to talk about the techniques that you use, the techniques for data collection that you use, the research study design, how you were able to collect your data. So for instance, you want to talk about, is it quantitative or qualitative research? Is it a descriptive research? Is it an experimental study? You want to talk about your study design. Do you use cross-sectional? Do you use correlational? What type is it? You also want to talk about the data analysis method. You want to talk about your data collection method. You want to talk about your p-value. You want to talk about how you arrived at your results. So I'm going to be going through an example with you. So this method says a hospital-based cross-sectional study was conducted among adult patients who attended Suham Government Hospital in May-June 2012. Participants aged 18 years and above were recruited using random sampling technique. So it's talking about how did I choose my participants. Data were collected by face-to-face interview. How did I collect my data? After verbal consent. Additionally, weight, height, and blood pressure of participants were measured following standard procedures. Data were collected by clinical nurses and then entered into starter version 10 for analysis. That is your method for data analysis. Multiple logistic regression were fitted and odds ratio with 95% confidence interval were calculated to identify associated factors. So this just gives a summary of what your research method should contain. So your result talks about the findings of your research. What did you find out? Is it different from the initial thing that has been said by different researchers, or you got a new information? You want to talk about that. So for instance, I'm going to be reading the result of this particular paper to you. A total of 210 participants were included in this study. Participants were aged 18 to 89 years with mean age of 47 years. 84 of the participants were hypertensive, of whom less than a fifth were not aware they are hypertensive. Overweight and obesity among participants was 85 respectively, 85 and 15 respectively. Consumption of salty foods, age 50 to 59 years and 60 years or more were associated with hypertension. So this just gives you an overview of the results of the findings. The last part you want to talk about is your conclusion. So your conclusion talks about the implication of your research to your practice. For instance, if I want to write, I'm going to write the implication of research to nursing practice. What is my general conclusion about my research work? You want to talk about, do you have any suggestions? Do you have any recommendations for future researches? Do you have something that could help other researchers in arriving at a good answer? You also want to talk about, are your research hypotheses rejected or accepted? What is the implication of your finding to your practice? So at the end, you also want to put keywords. At the end of your abstract, you also want to write your keywords. That means these are the words that are very important to your research paper. Usually it is between 2 to 5 words. The last thing is just to get a word count of your abstract and then put it down, and that's the end. And then you have a beautiful. So guys, if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, please subscribe to be part of this community. Thank you.